At this point in time, I think it's safe to assume that The Witcher 3 is engraved in gaming culture forever. But what exactly made it such a big deal that changed gaming forever? Today, we're gonna find out. The Witcher 3 was launched in 2015, 8 years ago. Yeah, I know it's been 8 years, even though the game doesn't look that old. Development for this game started around 2011, even though it was supposed to start 2 years earlier. But I think that this delay in production greatly contributed to the final product, and I'm gonna tell you why I think this. In 2011, this game launched, and it's a bit of an understatement that Skyrim was massive. And the reason Skyrim is such a big deal even today is its world and characters. Because of this, I think that CD Projekt Red looked at Skyrim and they said, hey, that's some pretty good shit, we should try to make something even better. And in my opinion, they succeeded. Because I mentioned the world of Skyrim earlier, let's talk about the world of The Witcher 3. I'm not gonna include Toussaint into this because we'll have a different chapter a bit later about the DLCs. The world of The Witcher 3 is amazing, and I truly mean it. The map is massive, and usually there are two outcomes when a game has a massive world. Outcome 1, the map is empty and there's nothing to do, and outcome 2, the map is filled with bullshit. The Witcher 3 fits neither because this world is so immersive and you can never get bored of it. I would give a lot to be able to experience for the first time the immersion of this world again. I'm not gonna sit here and dissect every encounter and every side quest that you can do, but I am going to talk about some of my favorites. For example, in Novigrad you can come across a priest of the Eternal Fire. The Eternal Fire, if you don't know, is a big religion in the Witcher universe. Anyway, this priest is preaching and Geralt can call him out for his bullshit, because he is racist to non-humans. He gets all upset and leaves, but after a few in-game days, some soldiers of the Eternal Fire will seek out Geralt to kill him. I always found this encounter fascinating because it's normal that a priest of a religion that is strongly against non-humans will want to hurt a non-human that make him look stupid. The next encounter I want to talk about might be the most heartwarming in the game. While exploring the map, you might come across this old woman who will ask you to investigate and find out who steals her chickens. And because it's not like we have to find Ciri or anything, Geralt agrees to help. After a bit of investigating, we find out that there was no monster that was stealing the chickens, but some orphaned children that were hungry. After this, you can convince the old woman to take the kids, and if she accepts, you can come back after a few days and you will see the kids living with the woman and having a fun time. This sort of attention to detail and small and insignificant quests that have no real impact on the story is what always makes me fall in love with a video game world. Because every game has massive over-the-top quests and decisions to take, and The Witcher 3 is no different in that regard. But the thing that made The Witcher 3 so special in terms of its world is its amazing attention to detail. You might say that many games have this sort of attention to detail, and yeah, you're right. But when did those games come out? I'm not saying that The Witcher 3 is the first game that implemented these details, but what I'm saying is that The Witcher 3 played a big part in the evolution of other video games worlds. There are many examples for the impact that this game had, like Kingdom Come Deliverance, Assassin's Creed Origins, Greedfall, and many more. I hope to make a video on Greedfall in the future, but we're getting off track. But now I'd like to talk about what I think is The Witcher 3's greatest achievement. I don't know if you noticed, but the title of the game ends with a 3, and that usually means it's the third installment in a series. But with that said, for me, and most likely for at least some of you, this was the first game of the series that we played. And even though this is the conclusion of the story, at any point of the story I wasn't confused or didn't understand what was happening. Sure, there were a couple of things that I wasn't sure why they were there or what meaning they have, like the scene in Vizima, where you can simulate a Witcher 2 save. I did that, I didn't know what anything meant, but at the end of the game I was blown away by the experience I just had. This always fascinated me about The Witcher 3, that CD Projekt Red basically launched their game trilogy with the last game. And I'm not saying that people didn't play The Witcher 2 or the first game, but I can guarantee that more people played The Witcher 3 for the first time and then played the other games. I did that, and in a way, I think things were better this way because I fully understood Witcher 3 because I learned more about the story and characters. And what I'm saying is proven by the numbers of copies sold by each game. The Witcher 3 sold a staggering 40 million copies, while the other two combined sold 10 million copies. The base game is around 60 hours long, but at least in my personal opinion, none of the time is wasted. There are a lot of games filled with filler content, and I'm talking about Valhalla and even Odyssey, which I think is a great game, but still too much filler content. But this game doesn't have this, even though that many of the side quests are fetch quests. But even those fetch quests are engaging. Another chapter where I think the game excels are memorable moments, because this game is filled with them. I have a video on the channel where I talk about the most memorable quests in the game. If you want it, check it out, why not? And if I'm already self-promoting, why not subscribe as well? But anyway, together with the great map and these quests, The Witcher 3 succeeds in doing something that not many games succeeded. And that is convincing me to play it again, and again, and again. To be honest, I think it's my 6th or 5th playthrough, and even though I've played it so many times, I still come back to it with great pleasure and still find things that I didn't know about. And that honestly is amazing. But I've sucked this game long enough, so now let's talk about some of the things I don't like. And the main one is that even though Eredin is the main antagonist of the game, I honestly find the Bloody Baron more memorable. And this is something many players agree on, and namely that as much as this game is a great game, the antagonist is shit. But after all, the journey matters, not the destination, or I don't know, I'm not a philosopher. But still, it would have been cool to see more of the Wild Hunt throughout the whole series, not only this game, but what's done is done. For the last part of this video, I want to talk about the DLCs that CD Projekt Red released for The Witcher 3, because they are absolutely incredible. I'm not gonna give a review for the DLCs or anything, but I want to talk about them. If you want a retelling mixed with some analysis of Hearts of Stone, I have another video and I'll leave a link in the description. These two DLCs are some of the most memorable ever, starting with Hearts of Stone, which is a more story-centered DLC. With this one, CDPR gave us one of the most iconic villains in gaming in the form of Gunter O'Dim. This DLC is filled with memorable moments like the boss fight with Olgierd and the Dream World. This DLC has an amazing story that forces players to make some strong decisions that are based on choosing between two evils, something that Geralt is very clear he doesn't like. The next DLC is Blood and Wine, and honestly this has to be one of the best experiences I've ever had. Everything about this DLC is perfect, the world, the characters, the plot, everything. I always felt like this was the perfect conclusion for The Witcher 3, plus it gave us the ability to talk to Roach, and that made it 100 times better. And with that note, I want to end this video. Tell me down in the comments what you thought about what I had to say, and feel free to share your experience with The Witcher 3. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.